we got Calvin Williams out of Houston, Texas. And he's just opening his school. It's been a long road, but Calvin, can you rewind back to childhood and bring us up to par where you are right now?
Wow. Childhood, I was considered the black sheep of the family, and I dropped out in middle school. I'm a 7th grade dropout, and I'd done all kinds of things, but it wasn't because I was a dumb kid. It was just boring to me. School was boring to me. I was supposed to be a school learner. I'm selling candy. I'm selling all kinds of stuff at school, man. And when I was 16, I was 50, this guy that lived across the street from me, when I was 16, he talked to me and said, Calvin, man, you need to get your life together. The road you're going, you're not going to see 18. And he was a barber, and everybody in the neighborhood looked up to him. He had a very pretty wife. He has the biggest house in the neighborhood on the corner, and he lived right across the street from me. And I didn't have really much of a father figure, and he took time up with me. He was the president of the Barbers Association in Texas at the time. He's taking me to some of the softball games and trying to mentor me and try to get me back in school. But he instilled being a barber in me at a young age. I was 16, but I was 28 when I went to school. But it stayed in the back of my mind. It just stayed with me. It resonated with me. So backing up from when I got my license at 28, I dropped out. I was a car thief, stealing cars, doing drugs, running in the streets, giving my mom all kinds of problems. But I always knew that God had a better plan for me. So I stayed in these streets, never did a day in jail. I hustled in the streets, man, for 30 years, never did a day in jail. Thank the Lord for that. Thank Jesus for that. Because there was a better plan for me. I didn't know that the whole time that the life that I was going through was designed to build my testimony to where I am now. So I got kicked out of school in HISD, which is Houston Independent School District. I went to a school in A-Leaf, which is like 25 miles away. I got kicked out of school in A-Leaf, selling drugs, 6th grader, 7th grader, selling drugs. And I went to another school here in Houston they called CLC, Contemporary Learning Center, where you can complete 2 grades in 1 year. But people in Houston, they call it Criminal's Last Chance. Got kicked out of school there. So my mom had to go to court in order to get me back in school because I got in a fight with a teacher, shoved the teacher around, and I couldn't go back to school in HISD in Houston, period, nowhere. So I dropped out of school and ran the streets. And all of my friends, I was in the gang, and all of my friends I was in the gang with, they all died, man. I mean, it was like 12. One went to prison. He went to prison in '89. He missed all the '90s. He got out in like 2004 or something like that. But other than him and I, that was just it. All my other guys, the guys I grew up with, the guys that brought me up, they all died, man. Went to prison. I'm the only one alive still. I've been the only one for the last 20 years that's been on. So I'm kind of a loner because all my real friends that really know me, they all died. So one day was hanging out in front of the corner, and it was like I had changed my hustles then. I was 28, and the guy was like, "Hey man, they got a scholarship program at the Barber College down the street. You pay $600 and everything else is free." I was like, "What?" 12 years later, I'm thinking, he dropped that seed on me 12 years ago when I was 16. And the guy told me that when I was 28, he said, "Man, the lady said, Ms. Johnson said you give $600 and the rest is free." And I was like, "What?" I had $300 in my pocket, and I took that $300. That was my re-up money. I took my take this $300 and I'm gonna go to Ms. Johnson. I'm gonna talk to her. So I go there and I talk to her. I say, "Ms. Johnson, I heard you had a scholarship program. Pay $600 and the rest of your tuition is free and your kit and everything." She said, "Yeah, babe." I said, "Well, I don't have $600 right now. I have $300 right now, and I'll bring you back in 2 weeks or a week or so. I'll bring you back another $300 if you can hold the scholarship for me." She said, "Yeah, baby, I'll do that." She asked me, "What elementary school did you go to?" She looked familiar, and I told her what elementary school I went to. She said, "Yeah, my sister was the principal there. I got you. I'm gonna look out for you." So a couple weeks passed. I filled out 2 applications for jobs. One of them was a telephone company called Prime Code, one of them from Continental Airlines. And I had to take a urine test. So I said, whichever one I failed the urine test, I'm going to the next one. If I fail both the urine tests, I'm going to be a barber. I failed the urine test. So the one job called back, the other one wrote a letter said, "We can't hire you because based upon the urine test." So I went and I became a barber, and all those years, people saying when I was going to school, people that went to school with me or went before me that didn't complete said, "Man, you're not gonna be able to finish. You're a hustler, man. You ain't gonna be able to stay at school and work for nothing. They're not tipping you. They're not gonna give you any tips. You're not gonna be making the money. So how are you gonna live this lifestyle? How are you gonna keep eating steaks and driving these fly cars and doing this stuff for free?" I said, "I'll worry about that when I get there." So hey, I went to school and I made it through, man. I was cutting in the heat. There was no air conditioning in the school. The school had been closed down 5 months before I was to graduate. The state board was coming to the school. They were threatening to close the school down because the lady, she wasn't in operations correctly. She had a couple strokes. She had a gambling habit. So we were just really in there cutting hair to support her gambling habit. And man, I had it rough going through school. So I finally got out. 96 students were at the school. She had 2 campuses. So the state board came. She had she threatened to have the fire department come and cut the door down at the school to get in the school and let the students run. She wouldn't let the she wouldn't let the state in to do an inspection or anything. Fire department came. They had to ask about to cut the door down. She came and opened the door. And the lady from the state board, she wanted all the students out of the school. She said, except this one guy, this guy right here. Because every time I've came, he's been here sweating and working. And that guy was me. So they closed the school down. Some students weren't even registered with the state, had paid money. They weren't registered with the state, didn't have their name on anything down there in the state of Texas, in Austin. So she sent me to the board, November 1998. I go down there thinking I'm ready, I'm studied, and I was teaching theory at the time because the theory instructor that was there had been teaching in prison for 27 years. He had nobody ever failed the board that he had sent there in 27 years. This one guy I was going to school with, that I went to middle school with, he failed the board, he failed the test. So the instructor quit. He said, you got all the paperwork and all the handouts that I give you, you got the book. You got to teach theory. You got to get these guys past the board. I say, how can I do it? I'm a student like the rest of them. Miss Johnson, she smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day. So she had a stroke because she had a very raspy voice. She said, you teaching theory or I'm sending you home forever. Needless to say, I'm teaching theory now. So that guy that failed the board, I got him to pass along with some other friends of mine. They passed the board. So then when it come time for me to go to the board, she sent me down there she sent me down there. Y'all paperwork is already in Austin. We sent it off. I take the Greyhound bus to Austin. I changed my life this time, right? So I'm not hustling anymore. All that stuff is on the back burner. I'm strictly cutting hair because God has a better plan for me. So I'm strictly cutting hair. I'm about to get married right after I graduate from school. I'm about to get married in November. This is November. I'm taking the test. I go down there. They have no record of me enrolled in school in the state of Texas anywhere. No hours for me. All those hours I worked, those 9 months, 8 hours a day, I put in 1,500 hours. They had no account of it. So I came back to the school. She didn't open the door for me. She was mad. She said, come back tomorrow, baby. You're too mad. You're too mad. So I came back the next day. She apologized. Never heard this lady apologize. She apologized. And she got my paperwork right. So then the state board, the lady that was there, I had to go back in December. And when I went back in December to take the test, the lady that was coming down from the state board, she was there. And the president of the state board was there. And he said, are you Calvin Williams, the president? He said, yeah. I said, yes, I'm Calvin Williams. I'm Charles Williams. And I've been reading a lot about what you went through. And I heard a lot about what you went through. You basically went through an internship. You can be an instructor. I said, well, he said, well, I don't want you to fail this test. I said, I don't want to see you back down here again. I said, the next time you see me down here, I'll be taking a test for my instructor license. So they let me take the test by myself. 400 students out there. So you go take the test by yourself. We don't want you to wait. Let me take the test by myself. And the lady from the state board stood right there beside me while I took the test. And I passed it with a 97. I passed the haircut part. I came back, came home, got married. After that, my first year at Barbering, I got my first shop. And that was a story about how I became a barber from a young age. It's something that he planted a seed at a young age, but it just stayed with me.
What did you do when you got that first shop?
Well, I got the first shop. It was good. I maintained it for 5 years. And then I wanted to switch location because I wasn't getting enough foot traffic. But I was able to, my skills paid the bill. So I was able to buy my first home at the age of 30. Like I said, I got married and my kids had a good education, and I was able to get them out the hood. They never saw hood life. Being a barber has been successful for me. I can honestly say it's been a really good living for me. And while I was in school teaching theory, I said one day I'm going to own a barber college. And it was always, I'm going to own a school one day. I'm going to retire. I'm going to get from behind this chair cutting hair. And by my second year in the shop, I was already cut. Man, I was standing behind the chair 12 hours a day from the time I walk in the shop. There's people out there waiting until the time I leave. So my first 5 years of being a barber was the roughest as far as like clientele because it was all work. I never had a chance to do anything. They demanded so much of my time. I could only raise my children, rear my children, had time for them. It was on Sundays and Mondays because they would require something. I was working from 8 to 8 every day. I was really good at, early in the game, really good.
So you did that for years. And when did you start thinking about a school or whatever? When did the shift start coming or the thinking? Tell us about that.
It stayed with me for all those years. And I opened 2019, I opened another shop in the flea market, and the business was booming. I never made that much money cutting hair. I made so much money. But again, now I'm 48, 49. I just could not stand up like I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to stand up anymore like this. And for the rent that I was paying outrageously high rent at this place. But the walk-ins were good. So I was able to spread the wealth to other barbers. I was able to spread the wealth because it was like, man, this shop got 40 walk-ins a week. So everybody, even if you didn't have any clientele, you were able to make $400 or $500 a week, even if you didn't have anybody. So after the pandemic, when the pandemic started, when they locked everything down and then said everybody can go back to, I think it was like March or was it May? I think it was. It said everybody can go back, and we went back in, and it was like, I think it was May 15th, and May 31st came around, and the rent was due. And the guy said, well, you owe me for a full month's rent. I said, well, how can I owe you for a full month's rent? Nobody's been here for a month and a half. Yeah, but the bank's saying that I have to pay them. So you have to say, no, there's no way that I'm paying 2 weeks that I wasn't here. And well, you're going to sign the contract then, so you're going to work for me. Work for you? I said, you know what, I'll settle all this. I just packed up everything and left, paid him his money that I owed him and left. Why are you leaving? I said, I don't have to work. I have a license, so I don't have to be here. I can cut hair. Superman changed the world. Superman saved the world, and he only needed a phone booth to change in. All I'm doing is cutting hair, so I don't need that much space. So I got out and I said, you know what? I need to make me $1 million at this, at cutting hair. I know it's somebody in this business that made $1 million at being a barber. So I go on to Google. I go to Google and I pushed in Millionaire Barber. Nothing. A couple of books came up. Then I went to YouTube, I think, and I put Millionaire Barber. You popped up, and I started watching videos. And I called you, and I was like, he answered the phone, man. And I started talking to you. And that seed that was planted in me in 1986 had beginning. I don't know the word for it. It was being birthed. It was alive in me at the time. When I talked to you, you woke that thing right back up. It was alive. I mean, I had a plan already because I had some ideas of what I was going to do. So I had some investments that I had made. I had some assets. So I wanted to make the shift. I said, well, how can I do this? And when I started listening to you and you just start putting ideas in my head and the blueprint, and then I joined the program and I started reading the blueprint, and it just became clear to me that I had to do this in order to, and then I have a new baby on the way, and I had to do this. I just found out, it took me a few months to really believe in it, because I didn't believe. I said, nah, this can't be true, man. Why is this guy telling everybody how to make $1 million at a barber? Why is he giving up the information? He's creating competition for himself. Because he's in barber school, why is he creating competition for himself? But as I learned and kept listening, and I found out that you were giving back. And that's when I invested in the program, and you gave me everything that I needed to get started with. All I needed to do is invite God, because I had the vision for it. You gave me the mission to go on, and I just had to invite God because I knew I needed something supernatural. I needed supernatural help because I couldn't do it on my own. Because if I could have did it on my own, I would have done it a long time. And when I contacted you, you set me on my way. And that's when I said, I can do this thing. So I started looking. I'm reading the blueprint. I'm reading. I started looking around for places. And when I started looking, one thing led to another. God led me to another place. And it took me like 9 months. I had to go back to school and get my instructor license because I didn't want to pay an instructor. So it cost me $4,500 to get my instructor's license. So I think you could have got it in like 6 months or 5 months. And so I did it like in 9 months. I paid $500 a month. I went for I think it was 750 hours. So I paid that in monthly intervals. And at the same time, while I was going to school, I was studying and preparing to open the school. But I didn't know where I was going to get. I didn't know where I was going to start at, or where I was going to get a building. Or I was thinking to go over here in the rich area of town where I could get students. But I was going to blow all my money on the overhead before I even get open. So, and I'm listening to you said, man, I started off in the hood and some place where I can afford. So I started looking at places, and I found a place, and then I just started buying all the equipment that I had. I buy U-Haul for everything that I need. I have to pay somebody to pick this stuff up, pick up desks for me, pick up chairs for me, pick up this for me. I have to pay other people and work on their time. So I paid cash. First thing I did, I paid cash for a used truck. And I started moving all my stuff around, buying here. So before I got the building, I had everything that I needed for the school, all my stations, all my chairs, my waiting area, my receptionist desk. I had everything in my garage that I needed for the school. So all I had to do was find a location. But where I wanted to go wasn't where God wanted me to go. So I said, I'm going where you sent me. Jesus, I'm going where you sent me. And he sent me right back to the same neighborhood, next door to the same school that I dropped out, the same streets that I used to run, the same place I sold drugs, to be an inspiration to the people that have nothing to believe in, to show them that you can do this. Coming from where you come from, being who you are, you can do this. And it's not something that I'm telling you that I've heard from somebody else, that I've witnessed from somebody else. I lived it. So I'm right here in my old neighborhood, right here. I'm here at the school now, and everybody knows me, even the gangsters. And I didn't even know these guys. They didn't even know these guys even knew me. Hey, Mr. Calvin, you used to cut my hair when I was a kid. What? Man, I want to go to school, man. I want to get off the streets, brother. I want to stop selling drugs. I want to stop pimping. Can you show me to do what you doing? I'm like, man, these are gang members. Now I'm Mr. Calvin now. They used to call me old school, OG, and now I'm Mr. Calvin. The same little knucklehead used to run these streets with a gun and doing this stupid stuff. Now I'm respected in the same neighborhood by the same people's children that I ran the streets with. But I'm here now on a different mission. I'm on a different mission now. And that's to save, to give hope where there is no hope.
Now, when you told people that you was gonna open this school, what was the reaction?
They laughed at me. People laughed at me. The people laughed at me. They thought I was crazy. Man, you going from shop to shop. Now, and mind you, 24 years I've been cutting hair. I cut hair maybe. I've had 4 shops of my own, maybe 18 shops. Man, you ain't doing nothing but switching shop to shop. There's no way you can open. You don't have the money to open a barber college. How you gonna open a barber college? What you know about? They laughed. Even my own family members, they laughed at me. They laughed at me. They would not believe. And I would tell them that they wouldn't even hold a conversation with me when I'm speaking about a barber college. The people that get up and walk off and start talking about the football game. Did you see the game yesterday? They didn't even want to hear the conversation about barber college. They just knew in their mind that it couldn't be done. They knew in their, see, they never thought that the black sheep could be the goat to change the direction of my family. So when I finally did get the shot, we get to school, and they can see the fruit, the same people won't even speak to me. I can say hi, these people won't even speak. And there's barbers that I go to the barbershop of the people that I told I was gonna get it, because I've been in the business for so long, and he's working around so many of my people for so long, and I've told them what I was gonna do. And now that I have the school, and they've seen me promoting it and seen me talking about, hear people talking about it, slip on Facebook. I have 75 to 100 beauty and barber professional friends on social media. And when I post the pictures of the school, I'll post things about the school, the progress of the school, no likes from those people. My own children, my oldest son and daughter, they didn't even believe. They did not believe. Now that when I have a 50-second clip of the video, 50-second clip of the video of the school that I show people, hey man, look how the school. And I've showed that video to at least 60 people. Only one person could watch that 50-second video. And the only person that watched it was a guy that worked next to me, but we weren't really that cool. We speak on occasions. And he was the only one that said, great job, man. You're in $1 million spot. You're going to be very successful there. The only person that I thought that would not was the only one that did appreciate what I was doing for the barber game. The only one, the person that I didn't. But everybody else that I expected and my friends, these people stopped speaking to me. And then see, God blesses you with more on the way than he does when you get there, because he's keeping you motivated. He's keeping you driven to that final destination that he has for you. Because when you're on the cusp of something great, it gets harder. And as the harder it gets, it's easy to give up. So he gives you little nuggets to keep you motivated. He gives you things. He makes it good for you. It may not be good to other people, but he makes it good for you to keep you motivated. And when I got there, now that I'm here, I'm inside the school now. And those same people that didn't speak to me, or the same people that are my friends in this business that don't speak to me, now I have people that I don't know that want to be a part of this. People off the streets want to be a part of this. Hey man, when you opening the school up? Every day I answer that question at least 5 times. People that I don't even know want to be a part of this. And my family members and other friends that I really cherish their friendships want nothing to do with it. And that's crazy. But only doing it for an audience of one. And that's Jesus. So he's been blessing my successful journey this whole time. Even before here. Even when I was a while, child, to get to this point. By me doing no jail time, showed me that he had a purpose for my life, and that this was building my testimony.
So how did it make you feel?
Man, I felt like I'm really gonna do it, because they ain't hating for nothing. They ain't hating on people that ain't doing nothing. See, it must be on the right path, because they hating for a reason. There's something that they see. Now, I can't see. See, a lot of times you can't see the picture because you're in the picture, but I watch the faces of the people who are watching the picture. I'm motivating people that were really, see, people that were told stories about me were looking at me expecting to see one thing, but they looking at me saying, man, that's not who y'all told me he was. That's not the person that y'all said he was. See, they'll spread lies. People were saying things to get people to disassociate with me or to talk down. They really try to recruit haters. They was really trying to recruit haters. But a real individual, a real person that doesn't really know you, can really see a person for who you are, because they have no reason to be mad at you, or they have a reason to hate you, and they can see past the fluff to get to the real person. And the real person that I am is I want to help people, and I'm giving back just so that I can give these other people that have no hope. I want them to see that they can be something else. So when I see those haters, it made me feel bad. But the people that I hadn't met before, the new people, the way they come up to me and the way they respect me and they respect what I'm doing, it erased the way that the haters made me feel.
So when you picked up the phone to call me, what made you pick up, dial to the number to even call? I mean, what was going through your brain?
I was seeing other people's testimony, and I just had to know for myself if it was real or not. And then I call and you answer the phone, and we chatted for a minute, and I continue. I watched more testimonies for about another 3 months before I even got into the program, because I had to be sure, because I'm a hustler, you know, and I've hustled people before, so I want to make sure that this wasn't a hustle.
So what was the nail in the coffin where you said this is not? I mean, what was the process? Or did you see something or hear something or what?
I went out and one of the students that was in the program with you was in my city, which is Cynthia from Stay Ready Nails. So I followed her, and I was watching her testimony, and I was watching her reels and watching her Instagram stories. So I called her up off Instagram one day. No, I DM'd her and asked her, could I come out and visit? And when I went out to visit the nail school, and she showed me the blueprint she had in the binders, I was sold. Because it was tangible now. Now I actually see somebody being successful from the blueprint program that's there for me. So God puts people in your life for a reason and a season. And me knowing that, I was not going to let this season pass. And I was not going to let something else be the reason that I didn't get involved in this program. And I did. And Cynthia, she locked it in for me. So when you got access to all the information, I mean, what were you thinking when you was looking back there? I got to get busy. I got work to do. So I locked everybody out. I tuned everybody. And that's probably why people started hating on the idea, because I locked everybody out. I got focused. I got laser focused on my future for my family. So it took me a year. So I went to school to get my instructor license from 9 to 12. 12 to 8, I worked at the barbershop. So I cut out all the time, had no free time mingling, no free time for talking and doing anything. I just dedicated everything solely to opening the school. So what would you tell people? Because this is going to be all on social media, Instagram. There's people on here now. There's over 1 million barbers and stylists and nail techs that's working behind the chair. There's nothing wrong with that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because you put a lot of time in. How did your body feel, or the time with your wife, the kids? Tell us about that. I've had fights in barbershops. I've been stabbed in the barbershop. I've worked in a shop, 2 shops. A person was killed in. You have no control over violence and things that happen in day-to-day life, but I have something to live for. Somebody that wants me home every night. Somebody that's glad to see me. So there was much more to live for than just making $1,000, making $1,200 a week. It's not worth it. So I had to change my course if I wanted longevity. And I got a head full of gray hair, but that's because I'm still living. All the other guys I came up with, those guys are gone. So in order for me to live the life that I want to live, have longevity, so I had to make changes in my life. And that was part of the change. And for the people that are seeing this, that are wondering if it can be done, Here's my school. It can be done. This time last year, I was working in a shop, somebody else's shop, paying booth rent. I still am, but it's only because I want to. I can cut hair here. I have a full operational shop right here. School, I can do that here. But after I'm waiting for my inspection so I can put my signs and everything up, and then I'm gonna move on everything here. It can be done. If you put God first, He can make this happen for you. I'm living proof. Chin, you changed my life. You changed my life. It was a plan that I always had, but you pushed me. You gave me that desire to want it. I listened to your story, getting out of prison, didn't have nothing. You came home with no driver's license. I tell you, my man came home with no driver's license, with nothing, couldn't have it. If he can do it, and we got out of school, I got out of school in 98, and I think you went around the school around the same time, we had similar stories. You had to change your life because you wanted something better for your life. Your why, because you wanted to retire your mother. My why, because I want to retire my wife. I want my son to go to private school. I want him to know the difference between right and wrong, but I want him to know how to operate in affluency. I want him to know financial things, and I want him to know banking information, things that I wasn't privy to because I didn't have the money and I didn't have the education wasn't there for us. Create a new path for my family, and so that the legacy will continue on. And how I couldn't leave a legacy at the barbershop. I was leaving a legacy of employee. I wanted to create generational wealth for my family and not continue the cycle of my family of workers. We're worker bees. I wanted my family to be full of kings and queens. So the generational wealth starts with me. And I owe you a lot for driving me and pushing me there. Because now I'm here working these things out. All I had to do was put forth the effort. And when you pray to God, it's not telling them, it's inviting them. It's liberating. It's liberating. I'm glad I met you, brother. And if I wouldn't have met you and I wouldn't have took initiative to get this, I'll be still behind that chair without knowing how to get here. I didn't think that it was possible because all the information that I read back then, you have to have a $100,000 surety bond. You have to have this, you have to have that. I had no way of knowing that I could get there until I got that blueprint. And I saw other people getting there. And I saw that Chin is the mentor that I need. I can get there. The rest is history, bro.
What do you want to leave with the group? Because you got people on here that's been listening, ain't nobody left. What would you leave them with? Because you got people on here that's thinking about opening the school, won't open, still in the shop, some of them scared, some of them thinking about giving up, quitting. You got all kind on here.
Make an investment in your future. The best investment that I always said the best move that I ever made was becoming a barber, because it freed me up. It freed my life from a lot of things. It was one of the best decisions. But being a part of this blueprint, being a part of this mentorship, this program, was one of the best moves I could ever make, because it's liberating me. It's setting me free from the chair. I've been chained to the barber chair for 24 summers. I worked 15, well, actually, I was a comedian, right? I was doing comedy. I was doing comedy all over the United States, all over doing radio, TV, with celebrities, Monique, Ricky Smiley, Michael Blackston, man, you name it. I'm doing comedy with these people. But that was me choosing my route, choosing my life for myself. And I was on the verge of opening a comedy club. It took me 7 years to get everything that I needed to open a comedy club, because it took me so long. I figured it out because I was getting involved in something that God couldn't put his hands on. God couldn't bless it. So when you're involved with something that God can't bless, you're doing it on your own. When I invited God to this and I knew this was what God can bless, it took me a year to get here, less than a year. The biggest investment investment I made in my life was in the blueprint. Taking that, investing in myself and investing in my future, I'm gonna go gold. I'm going gold.
I came to Houston. I was just in Houston not too long ago. So we got to meet face to face. So how was that?
It was great, man. I went home telling my wife about it. Hey, man, it was great. I was glad to meet you because you inspired me in so many different ways. It was like me almost meeting my hero, bro. for real, man. And I really don't have heroes. I don't really have anybody that I really look up to and that I pattern my life after, and that I can say that really moves me in my chin. You did that, man. You did that, man. You gave me, you instilled things in me that my father had. It was real to me. Like I said, your story and my story were almost the same, and I connected with you on a level that was different than I connected with other people that I met. You were showing me something that was going to make me better and make my family better. And when I met you, I had to meet you, man. I was like, should I wear a suit? What should I wear? I called you. I didn't know what to wear, man. I was like, damn, I ought to wear a tux to this joint. Nah, man, I'm not wearing a tux to this joint. Now I looked up on there and I said, nah, I better not. I Googled the address. I said, nah, I better not wear no. I gotta not come with a suit on over there. I just, just casual. I didn't know how to receive you, man, because you had done so much for me. I put you up there where the kings are, because you inspired my life and you took my life into a direction that I had no idea. I didn't have any idea that this is where I was going to end up. But this is what the Blue Camp gave me, man. This is where you put me at. This is where you put me. Nothing had done this. Those 24 years that I put in, it didn't do this for me. It didn't want me to get, this is my retirement chair.
That's a bad chest.
That's the chair that I'm retiring. This is my retirement chair. You work for these companies and they give you the fake 17-karat gold watch. This is my gold watch. This is my retirement gift to myself. I didn't think that I could see this. Man, I thought I was gonna die behind the shit. I'm gonna work behind it. I said, my philosophy was, barbers don't die, we fade away. That was my philosophy was, man, as long as I can see, I can cut hair. Not anymore. At 51, I'm gonna retire. And I'm gonna retire my wife. I'm gonna retire her. I told her this. Now, she went out, baby, what you want for Christmas? I said, my mind is not on Christmas. I can't even, you know what you're getting for Christmas? She said, what you getting me? Retirement. I'm getting you retirement for Christmas. So this year it might be a little tight on the gifts, but you're gonna love it. When you do get your gift, you're gonna love it. And this is the gift that you gave me, Chin. I didn't think this was possible, bro. I didn't think this was possible. Didn't think it was possible, man. My thing was, I'm gonna get a shop and put 5 or 10 chairs in there, and I'm just gonna collect boothing. That was my retirement plan. I didn't have no standing behind that chair and give me access to millions. Just give me a chance to get millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I couldn't fathom behind that chair. The money that I made in 24 years, the path that you put me on, I can make in a year. Thank you, brother. I owe you, man. You ain't gonna be sorry. I'm not gonna make you sorry, bro. I'm gonna make you proud of me, man. For real.
I'm already proud of you, Calvin.
And I've been through health challenges. During this last year, health challenges with my stomach, polyps removed, new baby. My baby went through health issues. My wife went through it, but I kept at it, bro. I kept at it. I didn't stop. Every time I get up in the morning, I listen to TD Jakes, or I listen to something motivational, and everything, the common denominator was, don't stop, don't give up, don't quit. Favor was coming from everywhere. That's when I found out that favor is better than finance. Because see, finance can put you in places, but favor can put you with people and put you in rooms where money can't get you. That's when I found out favor is better than finance.
They say favor ain't fair.
Hey man, this is what favor done for me. And you had the option to accept me in your program or not. That's favor. You could have denied me and said, nah, I don't think you're right for this program. You could have denied me, but you did, and you pushed me and you motivated me and you showed me how to get here. It's not the biggest, fanciest place in the world, but hey, it's not how I started. It's gonna be how I finish.
Better than my first school.
You saw the pictures. I sent you the pictures. I had to redo the floor. I redid the electrical. I redid the plumbing. I painted it. I had to do all the ceiling tiles, I spend it all. And I want to leave that with the people that are looking and listening, that just because you don't have the money, that means God won't bless you with the favor. All you got to do is get started. Show me where I can get started without the money. The first place to get started is find out the barber laws in your state. Work yourself from there. Work backwards from there. Find out the barber laws, work backwards. And you working backwards, that means you already have your vision for your school. To start is to get the barber laws, and now you work backwards. You work backwards to where your vision is. So I got the laws and I got my visions. Now you can get to work. The location of where you're gonna get your chairs from. The location of where I'm gonna get my stations from. Chin to give you to get the blueprint of how operations go from the opening of the door to the closing it in the evening. Turning on the radio, how much money to keep in the cash register. Every point of business is in the blueprint. That's favor. Because you can't go online and purchase this anywhere. When I saw it, I tried. I admit it. Man, I tried to Google this thing and tried to find it. Couldn't find it. Favor. I'm thankful for Miss Velma. I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for you. It's all out of favor. I love you, man. Thank you.
Love you too. Well, I thank you for sharing this story. It's going to inspire a lot of people, a whole lot of people, because it's going to be all over social media. It's going to be great. You're in for a great ride.
Thank you, man.
It's just the beginning.